Okay, so hi everyone and welcome to the HANS or Human and Natural Sciences Careers Festival, and in this session we're going to cover some content about physician associate careers. Feel free, by the way, whilst I'm presenting, to just chip in and or put your microphone on and say something, or pop comments in the chat. Happy to for this to be quite an informal session. So I know a lot of you already know this information about what is a physician associate, but also there might be a few people here that haven't been to any of the GEMS PA sessions. So for the purpose of that, just to provide some of this basic information. So a PA is a trained healthcare professional who provides crucial support to doctors. Works under the direct supervision of a doctor, but is a clinical practitioner. Carries out many similar tasks, in fact all really, other than prescribing drugs, so examination, diagnosis, management and care of patients. So you really are an instrumental part of a medical team, and you can work either in general practice surgeries or at hospital, within a hospital. It's not a direct route to becoming a doctor, but it doesn't mean, by that statement, I don't mean that if you become a PA, you can't then go off and become a doctor. It's just not, it's not necessarily part of a training process to becoming a doctor. Again, I'm sure if you're already considering PA careers, you know about the salary. It is a good salary with I think a highly rewarding career that's rewarded quite well with the income that you'll get. And in fact, the income is at least at the start anyway, much higher than what you would get as a junior doctor. And if you look on employability related pages, you'll see that people, generally speaking, the last time I checked the data, people who take on and successfully complete a physician associate course tend to have 100% employability. So it's a really good investment in terms of taking on further study, and if you're concerned about where do you want to be and how much you want to be earning within the next 5 years, and also obviously most important of all, you want to be in a rewarding career. The reviews, so to speak, are really good. So definitely a highly worthwhile avenue for you to be exploring. So let's assume that you either already have done lots of research about what a physician associate is, and you know that it's definitely for you. Well, how and where do you apply? So you can apply through UoS. It all depends on the university and the time of the year as well. Or you can apply directly to many of the universities as you like, and at various time points throughout the year. That's because although some universities seem to tap into the UoS system, some seem to just take applications until the places are full. Sometimes, as I've been doing a bit of research over the last couple of days, they are also taking up applications for not just September 2021, but also September 2022 for those people, and even February as well. So there does tend to be 2 intakes per year. So you may start your course in February, or you may start it in September, and applications are, for some universities, still even open for September 2021, and I'll come to that a little bit later on. Well, actually, I do have a comment here about Bolton and UCLan having places, but I've done a little bit more research, so I'll come back to this point. Becoming a physician associate. So the first thing I'll say about physician associate actually is it is a relatively, compared to being a doctor, it's a relatively new role in the UK. But because people are finding out about it more and more and realising what a good career it is, it's becoming increasingly competitive. So what I would say to you is, don't waste your time. If you're in your final year and you haven't applied and secured a place already, then you should be working on your application now. If you're in your second year going into your third year, then I would be making a application around the middle of your second year for September 2022, although it may be worth Naroshni or Patricia, I don't know if you want to jump in because I don't have the full information. If you are in your second year, can you apply for September 2022 now? Does anybody know the answer?
It's open, but you can't actually send an application yet until September. So it's open, so you can make the application, you just can't send it yet.
Okay, so you can be ready.
For September 22, yeah.
Yeah. So in September 2021, you can be ready to press the button for September 2022, and that I would really recommend that before you get, especially if you're ready. If you are in a position to press that button, I would do that, because then you can just focus on your final year.
I think more importantly, guys, if you're ready now, if you write that personal statement now, you will the gaps will appear, right? And if you send it to one of us, and we take a look, we will then point out the gaps, and then you have time to sort the gaps out if you do it now. So second year is really when you should get all your paperwork ready. And for the medics, you should do you should do a practice run of the UK CAT GAMSAT in the second year, and then do it in the final year as well.
Sorry, just bear with me. Just had another. I'll just post the link.
And I think one more thing. I think in terms of choice, I don't know whether Sarah is going to cover. Are you going to cover the Sarah?
I am going to cover a bit.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Go on.
Yeah, we can wait until we get to that bit if you like. Yeah. Now then, so when you look at the university entrance requirements, you will see some say that you can get in with a 2-2. But in my experience so far, actually what they want is a strong 2-1 or above, and that again goes back to the nature of the, how competitive it has become. And on top of that, they also want work experience and other things, and we'll get to that. And Patricia has got a lot of expertise there and can tell us about the sorts of things she has done, and we'll don't want to we'll come to that in a short while. So let's say that you've got the grades and you're kind of ready to apply. Oh, my slides are jumping. So you'll need to fill in an application form, and as Naroshni has already said, you'll need to prepare your personal statement. I would advise, even if you're in your second year and you don't want to press the button in September, start definitely mapping out your personal statement. You might be surprised with what you do have. You might think, oh, I don't have enough, but then and again, you might think you've got loads, and actually when it comes to you writing your personal statement, you realise that it's all really old stuff that you did way back in high school, and you could really do with updating it as quickly as you possibly can. Effort is required with the personal statement, but you're in a really lucky position, because either myself or Naroshni are more than happy to give you extensive feedback on the personal statement. It is a bit of an art getting the personal statement right, and you will need several rounds of feedback. And again, one thing I'd say is if the grades are there and the experience is there, I have found that when students have put some effort in and got the feedback with the personal statements, they always get an interview. Now, getting past the interview is another hurdle that requires much preparation. But one thing I can, really say is that we can definitely support you very, very strongly to get to the interview, and we can prepare you for the interview, but a lot of effort is also required on your part. The interview itself will be a panel or an MMI interview, and again, a lot of preparation is required. We can offer you some support, but there is also a lot of support out there, and there are communities and groups that you can join. You should make your own community and group and work together, because the more preparation and the more practice you have, there is a real art to how you present yourself at any interview. But in particular at these, you know, it's a position of excellence really, so that really needs to come across, that you are ready and confident and got the qualities that the clinical team are looking for. As I've said earlier, generally that there isn't a need for the entrance exams. However, some universities are starting to make that a requirement. Some of you I know have just come in a little bit late, but as Naroshni said earlier, even if you don't need to do the entrance exams, when the students that are going for medical school are preparing for these entrance exams, I would strongly encourage you to go, because although you're not going to need to pass an exam, the things that you will learn will help you at interview. So things about you know, a lot of the problem solving skills, they come up in the MMI interview. So we'll come to some of that content in a short while.
Sarah, can I just disrupt you for a second? I've just got a text from Arjit because I emailed him about the link. He says he cannot record because he doesn't have moderator rights. Do you know how to change that system? No?
Well, just bear with me one moment. What I might do is I might just jump into his session. Is that okay? Yeah, you guys just continue the discussion, sorry.
Yeah, I'll just come in for a minute there. The physician associate courses, guys, are quite varied, right? So because there were some that were traditional. Patricia, just jump in when you want to add. Some that were quite traditional and have been there, and some that are also new because, you know, universities are broke these days and they want to have you know, some new courses to make money as well. Now, the older traditional ones are probably more difficult and more competitive to get in. One of the good ways to kind of assess, because remember at the end of this, there is an end of your physician associate course, there is an external exit exam. So which means there has to be an external standard, which is much more difficult to do, because, you know, everybody has to conform and the university can't make exams, you know, tailor exams towards their students in a way. So it's a fair system, it's a good system for quality. So but it also means that, you know, you have to go into a university, you know, you have to go, it's better to go have that choice to go into a university which also has the facilities. So if I was selecting an option, or if you have many offers, I've got quite a few this year who have got more than one offer, and that's the great thing. Our students are getting into good places, right? I mean, we have already got 2 in Manchester. So try and go on the basis of a medical a PA course in a university that has a medical school, right? So, and the older the medical school, the better. So that might be a good way to assess which medical school you choose. Of course, those will be tougher. Those will be tougher to get in, because so you have to basically aim for the first class. You have to aim for the first class. I mean, there are things that say you can come in with a 2-2 and all. You will struggle, and, you know, any university that is letting you in with a 2-2 probably is not worth doing a PA course in, right? So you have to aim for a high 2-1 or a first, and you know, just assume that medicine and dentistry and PA, you just assume that you're doing things together, and that will be the safe option. Patricia, is there anything you want to add there? Is that correct? Have we lost Patricia?
Sorry, my mic is muted.
Okay.
No, my mic is muted. Yeah, so I'd say the same, to be fair. It's just a lot of PA schools are actually, they're not PA schools, they're medical schools. So you're applying to their medical school, medical admissions. So you just want to have a look at, I think it's something like Sheffield, their course is in a nursing school, I think it is. So just look at what the course outline is, if it fits you, what you'd like to get out of the course itself. I mean, the courses are very similar as it is. You, like, at the end of the day, you graduate as a physician associate, but you just want to look at the requirements for each university and what fits you best as well as that.
Yeah, I think even if it's in a nursing school, it's about facilities availability as well. So you know, if you have access to dissections and stuff like that,
Yeah.
the caliber of the human anatomy dissections will be much better in a medical school than
Yeah.
in some other place where they might give you an online thing and say, okay, this is what it is. Whereas there you might get access to real human bodies. So even if it sits within another course, that doesn't matter. It's just that the university has the infrastructure to accommodate all that, you know, and normally medical schools have got that
Yeah.
really, you know, they have been there for years, and they've got fine-tuned. So even things like patient examination rooms, if you go to Manchester, you know, you have those little simulated cubicles, which is exactly like, you know, a GP surgery where a physician associate will work in, you know. So you have that whole thing there, rather than you know, having it in a classroom or something like that. So it is a different experience.
Yeah. A lot
I
of
mean,
people
So
say
yeah,
you're applying, you go out to placements with the medical students as well. So just keep that in mind, that some unis don't have the medical school, so they
yeah,
may not have. It's not to say that they won't, but they may not have the
yeah,
facilities that a medical school would have.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, totally. And ultimately, you can make as many applications as you like. So I would definitely try your luck with getting into a Russell group, and as Naroshan says, somewhere with a well-established medical school. And then if you can't get in, then by all means look at the other universities. You know, I think training alongside alongside doctors will definitely you know, make you stronger, especially when it comes to getting the job. You've got to think, you know, well, after this course, yes, you'll be a PA irrespective of where you do your course, but it's just like doing a PhD. You know, you could do a PhD in one university and you could do it at another university, but then the likelihood of you getting a job as a lecturer in the place where you want to be a lecturer is going to vary significantly. So yeah, just have a think about where you want to study, the facilities there, the way you'll be taught, the hospitals in which you'll be trained, and whether that, you know, in addition to whether it's you know, got a great reputation, you also want to be thinking about, you know, can you get there, and how does that fit with your lifestyle and where you live and that sort of thing. So quite a lot to think about. Okay. Shall I carry on?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll carry on. So, are you ready to make an application? So if you tuned in yesterday for the YouTube session, Arijit, who teaches genomics, hopefully lots of you know him, great, fantastic academic here, gave an introduction to mind mapping and you know, the reasons why we make the decisions that we make. So you really need to think about why you're going for the physician associate role, or if you're going for medicine, why you are going for it. Is you know, you just really reflect, is it really for me, is it really what I want to do? And the key thing is that you need to be passionate about patient care, healthcare, and the general greater good. So if this is for you, then, you know, and you've got the grades, you've got the necessary experiences and volunteering, and hopefully Patricia will expand on that and we can have a discussion around appropriate experiences and volunteering in a little while. If you can answer yes to all three of those things, then you need to look at the individual university websites and start working on a strong personal statement. And as we've kind of already suggested, working on a strong personal statement, it will take you some time. You know, you're not going to just be able to reel that off in a couple of hours. You'll need to spend, you know, a day or so working on it once you've got your plan, and then you'll need to get a couple of rounds of feedback. And it might be that you'll make all of that effort to write this personal statement, and then you know, you realise, actually I need to urgently get some volunteering or work experience, or my grades just really look quite poor, or, you know, something might be missing, and then in that case, then again you'll need to go away and do a bit more work. For those of you who may have joined a little bit late, I'm not sure if you missed some of our comments earlier. So even if you're in your first year now, or if you're, you know, well, you'll be at the end of your second year, irrespective of the stage that you're at, it's a good idea for you to start writing your personal statement now. If you're at the end of your first year, just think this time next year you'll ideally be finalising you know, the personal statement content. So it's a good idea for you to write a personal statement now, as you know, as you're sitting at the end of your first year, start of your second year, because then you can say, well, wait a minute, I've got a year now to urgently, you know, go and get some volunteering experience at the hospital or at a soup kitchen or wherever it is that you can get the experience that you need. Okay, so you will need to, you know, if you're at the end of your second year, or, you know, you might be in your final year and getting ready to graduate, you need to really quickly make a table of universities that you want to apply to, whether or not they have places right now, how you apply, whether it's through UCAS or directly through the university system. And also you'll need to do a bit of research about the university, the course content, as Naroshni said earlier, you know, do they have things like proper dissection facilities? Which hospitals will you be doing your placements at? Can you get to those hospitals realistically, because they're not always right next door to the university. So you need to get to research. I would highly recommend that you guys that are here today maybe make a group over the summer. Those of you that are thinking to put in an application in September or in the lead up to September, make a small working group, put that information together and share that information. You know, you're not in the, you know, there are plenty of places at these universities for all of you, so you're not in competition with one another. So I had a quick look at some of the local universities. UCLan, Bolton and Chester are still taking applications for September 2021. Manchester, University of Manchester are taking applications for February 2022. So in a nutshell, you know, depending on the stage of your course that you're at, I'd get cracking really if you haven't done already with your application.
Can I just add in, when you are doing the university, when you're kind of combing through these websites and stuff like that, and if you're settled on where and when, what university you choose or chosen, while you're doing this, you know, this bit of research, please take down notes as well, because you know, then half the work is done. Because one of the questions is very likely to be why did you select this university, and the answer to that will be on that university webpage. So try and get that information in a concise form as well, so that, you know, you have that and you don't have to troll through these pages again.
I totally agree, because that is a really obvious question to ask, and what they don't want to find out, what they don't want to get the impression of, is that you've just come to that university, it's been selected at random, you don't know much about the course, you don't know much about the city, the academics there, the research that might be going on there. So, you know, you probably need to be selective and wise with your time. If it was me, I'd probably select 5 universities to get going with, and find out everything you can about you know, the environment there, the course, some of the research that might be relevant to the physician associate and clinician population there. Find out about the hospitals where your placements will be. Yeah, I think they're the sorts of things. Anything else, Naroshni, about the university that you think?
No, I think that's all, unless Patricia has something to add. No.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So again, I have shared some of this information before, but I'll just reiterate, because I know there are people in the room who haven't been to some of these sessions before. So again, just to reiterate the differences between some of the universities, the price tends to be the same, you tend to get a travel grant, but there are some subtle differences. So Manchester, the way they deliver the course is quite similar to the way they deliver the medical degree. So it's a lot of PBL, so a lot of independent problem-based learning exercises. There are some lectures and also access to the anatomy suite. So that's a proper dissection suite with real human bodies, with you know, real you know, a lot of expertise there in terms of human anatomy. You'll have 1,600 hours of clinical training, and this will include placements across the full medical specialities and teaching hospitals and primary care providers around and around Manchester. So you'll, you know, where you're studying is not really far from the hospitals. I mean, don't get me wrong, you'll need to use transport of some description, but it's all within the kind of Greater Manchester area. You'll have the opportunity to uptake an overseas elective in year 2. You'll receive financial support during your training. There is an MSc or a PG DIP option, but the student loan is only open for people taking the MSc route. You will get a £5,000 travel grant spread across 2 years of your study, and this is supposed to cover the cost of travel to your placements. And the University of Manchester, as with all of its courses, offer a £1,000 hardship fund per student, so there is some extra money there to tap into if you find yourself in some financial difficulty. Again, some information from UCLan. They have 2 campuses where they deliver this course, and where you will study will depend upon the time of the year that you want to start your course. So really important that you consider this. If you apply to start in September, you will be on the Preston campus. If you apply to start in February, you'll be in the Lake District. So you need to be sure that that's where you want to study and that you can get to the Lake District in February and study there for 2 years. Approximately 50% of the programme is spent in clinical placement, over 25 hours per week of direct interactive teaching. Okay. Human anatomy resource and learning centres and the anatomage table. So I'm not 100% sure whether the human anatomy resource and learning centre is a dissection suite. Naroshni, do you know?
Usually it is. So
Okay.
usually the human anatomy thing will also be the dissection suite, whether they might have proper whole body dissection. They might have pro sections where they have, you know, keel, for example, has proper whole body dissection.
Yeah.
Pro sections meaning you'll have like parts of arms and legs and stuff like that. You know, only that section will be brought to
Yeah.
you, or you can also have the other facilities like the you know, the stored organs, for example, the pathological specimens will be there, plus the anatomage table. And the anatomage table is, we do have an anatomage table, by the way, in the nursing school.
Yes.
So all that is there.
Yeah. So UCLan have the MSc option, and again, you must be prepared to travel. They specify this on their websites because the clinical placement sites are throughout Lancashire and Cumbria, and it, you know, with travel of up to 90 minutes both ways. So I think you know, it depends on, you would likely need a car for this by the sounds of it, and of course the 5,000 travel grant would not, you know, I don't think there'd be much spare after paying for all of that travel, so something for you to think about, although getting into UCLan will not be as competitive as getting into somewhere like Manchester. So I think they're all the details that I have in terms of, you know, some of the universities, because I think, you know, there are potentially, you know, tens of universities that you could get this information from, you know, their website. So I'd suggest that you make a list of the universities that you want to apply to, and you know, start extracting the relevant information. In addition to writing your personal statement, some of the universities that I've looked at require you to fill in an application form. So the University of Manchester application form allows you to view the form before you actually start creating an account. So, but I'd imagine that most of the universities will have a similar form. So just so you're aware, the sorts of information that the application will require, so this is in addition to your personal statement, are things like 200 words on your motivation. So, they're going to use this to try and work out, what's motivated you. Is this really what you want? Are you right for this sort of course? Details of 2 work experiences in the last 3 years and relevant charity, community or medical experiences. So this is what they specify. 200 words on hobbies and interests, 200 words on teamwork, and 350 words on difficult situations. Now, as with your personal statement, what you don't want to do is give all of the examples from the same 2 work experiences. You want to be able to draw upon lots of different things in each one of these sections. So whilst they specify 2 work experiences, in reality, they want to see things coming through from different areas of your life. Okay? So the next few slides will focus on the personal statement, and then I think I'll probably hand over to Patricia to talk about work experience and some of her findings so far. Does anyone want to chip in at this point?
Sarah, can I just add in a second? Just quickly, I mean, you can see those additional columns that were the sections that were requested about teamwork and personal interest and stuff like that. So this is also why, if you're in your first year, that you should be involved in all these activities, because the more you have, the more competitive you'll have for those better universities. So to get those good universities, in addition to having your work experience, in addition to having your first class, you have to have those that wide background in terms of hobbies, interests, and through Biomed SOC, actually, you have so much of opportunities to do that. So all these are not just things that are happening disconnected, right? Whether it's GEMS or so this is why these are all opportunities for you to jump in and take a lead and get involved, because then you'll have examples of teamwork, you'll have examples of hobbies, you'll have examples of interests, difficult situations, if there are issues in those team working situations. So you'll have a whole lot of things to choose from, and the more you have, the better that divide. You have your personal statement, and then you have, in addition to your personal statement, you have a lot more to write as well. So you can see how tough that is. One more addition there: if in the instant, and that happens to many people, that you do not make the 2-1 or the first class, and you have landed with a 2-2 or lower, I mean, again, that shouldn't stop you from aspiring to do any of these careers, right? The route then is to immediately follow up with a master's, because the moment you get a master's, right, and a place like Salford, we have quite a range of masters. You have drug discovery, biomedicine, biotechnology. So all those masters can actually lead in from our courses onto those masters. And if you have that masters, then your mistake in your final year, this year particularly, there are so many challenges. People have dropped the ball on many occasions. So if you do have an issue with your final year grade for some reason, then, and if you want to correct it, the way to correct it almost immediately within a year is to do the masters, because you'll get a loan for that anyway. So just go on to your masters, then nobody will ask you about, did you get a first, did you get a 2-1, because you have your masters there, and all you can write is your BSc honors degree plus masters. That's all that matters, right? So have that in mind. So you always have to have plan B and C and D these days, because things are going to get tough.
Yeah, I totally agree, Naroshni. And just to add in there, you will get a 20% discount if you decide to stay on and do an MSc here at Salford. And the MSCs, you know, reach out to Natalie Ferry to have a chat with her about those master's programs. So that the biomedical sciences, the drug discovery and design, and what's the other one again? Roshni, remind me.
Biotechnology, drug discovery and design,
yeah,
and biomedical science. I mean, it is all related, and
yeah.
so you just step in, and it's a brilliant course, and you know it has expanded like mad over it's one of the fastest growing programs, our masters.
Yeah, and what's excellent about them, in addition to the scientific content and the research projects, is there is a real thread of employability skills that goes right through the program, through two of the modules in particular. So I found out all of this yesterday whilst I was on this YouTube call. So you're prepared in lots of ways for research skills as well as academic writing in across two of the different modules. And those skills are highly transferable, especially if you focus your, you know, if you make sure that your research project has got a clinical slant. And if, you know, because when you become a physician associate, you're not going to be disconnected from clinical research. In fact, you may be leading it. So, and certainly if you're a clinician, you will be leading, hopefully, clinical studies. So being able to demonstrate that you have the knowledge and the skills in research design, ethical research, you know, ethical research, and the ability to write scientifically, they're all really, really valuable skills. And of course, you'll have an MSc, which is really good.
The other advantage, guys, in having an MSc is, I mean, you must be aware that because of various safety nets and because of COVID, and you know the leniency that has been applied, there will be a huge increase in the number of first classes that are going to happen. So therefore, employers will not be in a position to look at your degree and actually select, right? So because most degrees will be good. So it might be, if you don't get in the first time into university, even if you have a good degree, right? If you don't get in, maybe you did your interview wrong or something like that. Don't waste that 1 year. Don't waste that 1 year, you know, because you'll be paid for a master's. Go in and do that master's, because that will always distinguish you, particularly in this COVID time, from the rest, because that will make you different. Because degrees are, unfortunately, the first class degree may mean less than what it used to.
Yes, I agree, definitely. It is an unfortunate fact. Okay, so personal statement. Make sure you have an excellent personal statement. Sounds obvious, but so many personal statements I saw this year were just cobbled together very last minute. It's not because the people didn't want to, you know, go and, you know, they weren't, it's not that they weren't serious about becoming physician associates, they just hadn't planned their time. And I know it's difficult because you've got loads of different modules, lots of different assessments, lots of you are volunteering and also working, and you've got lives and all the rest of it, but you must put some time aside, and the summer is always a good time to really start mapping out your personal statement. So let's begin with some key personal statement tips. It must be accurate, obviously, and again, I know this all sounds really obvious, but sometimes you do see some errors on personal statements. So it must be accurate, free from spelling, grammatical errors, and don't plagiarize. So why do I say don't plagiarize? First of all, you'll look a bit of a fool if you manage to get to interview and then you're trying to talk about your experiences, but you know you're being really fluffy, and it will be obvious. The other thing is your personal statement. Most universities, if not all, run your personal statement through a plagiarism software, just like Turnitin. So there is a chance that you will be caught out before the interview and be blacklisted from further applications. So please avoid that. What are they looking for in your personal statement? Enthusiasm and aptitude. So they want to know that you are genuinely enthusiastic. This is not a plan B or C. You know, you really, really wanted to be a physician associate, or if you're going for medicine, you really, really wanted to be going for medicine. It's always been a dream. The fact that you did a degree was always part of the grand scheme of things. You know, it's, you know, that needs to really come across. There might have also been an instrumental moment where, or an experience that really consolidated that enthusiasm. So that's nice to come across. They need to know that you're intelligent, a team player, that you're compassionate, that you're an empathetic individual, that you've got all the qualities that when you go into the doctor's surgery, or if you got rushed into the hospital, you hope that that doctor has got all of those qualities. That's exactly what they're looking for. Nobody wants a grumpy, boring, you know, lazy person that doesn't know how to work as part of a team. No, they want the total opposite. So you need that to really kind of bounce off the page. Do you want to chip in there at all, anyone? No?
No, I think you've pretty much covered it.
So why have you chosen this particular profession? So why have you chosen to be a physician associate? So you need to demonstrate why physician associate, or if you're going for medicine, why medicine? Because you know, that first of all, they need to know that, you know, you've done your research, but also a common question when you get to the interview is, well, why don't you just go and do nursing? You know, why did you not go for audiology or some other postgraduate study that would get you into clinical practice? Just, oh, I care about patients. You know, that's not going to be enough. There's lots of ways of you dealing with patients. So they need to know that you're serious about this and you've really done your homework. So what led you down this path? What was there a specific moment? Was there an experience? Is it, you know, you need to have the answers. And again, if you didn't listen to Arijit's mind mapping talk yesterday, go back. The YouTube video's there. It's really great how, you know, how he talks about the you know, the neuronal connections and how our experiences influence our choices, and the whys. Okay, the whys are really, really important. Okay, because once you get to where you're going, you need to be happy when you get there, and you need to perform. So you know, really do some self-reflection, and that will come out in your personal statement. What is your knowledge and understanding of the role of a physician associate? I've given you a bit of a flavour. There are other recorded lectures where you can get a flavour. There are, hopefully Patricia may mention some of these groups that you can join. You really need to be almost immersed in the community, you know, and have that information before you make your application. So yeah, you need to know. Again, this session I'm you know, talking a lot about PA primarily because we have you know, a more GEMS focused session next. But again, if you are going for a GEMS application, the same applies. You know, why are you, what's your knowledge of the role of a doctor, and so on. How have your current studies prepared you for this programme of study? So doing a biomedical sciences degree, doing a human biology and infectious diseases degree, or anything similar. I don't know if there are any biochemists here, or pharm sci students. Any of those courses that you have done put you in a really strong position, because a lot of the modules and core knowledge that you've gained actually is a real solid foundation for these courses. What transferable skills do you have? And we'll come to work experiences, positions of responsibility, and these might be through paid employment, or they might be, you might be volunteering, or you might be committed to some university's activities. What caring experiences do you have? You need to show that you've got caring experiences. And one thing I'd say generally about all of these, when we say volunteering, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's great to go and do a sponsored walk or a sponsored run, but I mean sustained commitment to a position of responsibility, or a position where you're caring for something. Just doing lots and lots of one-off things is great, but it comes across much stronger if, for instance, you were that one person that was always there, you know, at the bedside of I don't know, dying cancer patients, for example, you know, at a hospice, or if you were that one person who was there always religiously on a Sunday morning, making sure that the homeless have got soup, or you know, whatever it is that you've really got a passion for and you've shown that sustained commitment to. Any thoughts on that so far, guys? Okay. Right. So I hope that all of you have looked very closely at the HANS festival booklet that I put together on this lovely orange background. I'm going to, you may or may not have looked at this kind of formula almost to get you started with writing a personal statement. Has anybody looked at this or not yet? I'm just thinking it might be good for us to just have a quick whiz through the content, because it might be helpful for getting you started on your personal statement. If there's no objections, I'll do that quickly now. And what I say here is also relevant to a medicine or dentistry personal statement. But what I will say is, if you are going for medicine, irrespective of what you're going for, I think any guidance I give you, if you're going for a GEMS application, make sure you come to the session this afternoon. Well, irrespective of what you're going for, come to the session this afternoon, because Komal is an absolute expert on writing personal statements. She has a fantastic workshop, and I hope she'll go through some of that content. But this is a great start. And then the guidance that Komal will give you this afternoon will really, really take it to a next level. But yeah, so here's kind of my, I'm just going to share another screen. So can you all see this?
Yep.
Yeah, you can see it fine. Okay. So on, I think it's the last page. There's this guide to get you started on writing a personal statement. So I just wanted to, is the text big enough, or? I don't think I can get it much bigger in this view. So anyway, I'll just really quickly whiz through this. So your personal statement should be no longer than a page, and I have this suggested structure. It doesn't mean you have to write it with this structure, but if you are struggling to get going and you want to make a start, this is a really good place to start, and then you can start kind of editing it and moving things around after, if you like. So, strong, striking opening. I love a good, strong, striking opening. I think your personal statement will be one of hundreds on a big desk, on a big pile, on a desk, and you want to grab that reader's attention. And there's lots of different ways you can do that. So, why is this career? And I like sometimes for it to. I've done this in different ways with different students before. So, why is this career pathway important to you? You might want to start with something like that. And what was the deciding moment? So it can't be boring and a bland opening. Don't worry if you can't get it into that striking, strong message, but at least in your draft, if you can write an honest statement at the start, you know, make it a paragraph. If your personal statement goes over a page in the first instance, don't worry, because it's easier to hack back. What's hard is when somebody has waffled for like 2 pages and there's not much there. But if you've got loads and loads of experiences, and we need to get picky, and I know there are some of you in this room that will be in that position, just get it all down, and then we can give you some feedback and we can prioritize. But what I want is, you know, what they will be looking for too is that strong, striking opening. So you know, some good examples I've seen in the past for both medicine or physician associate studies are, you know, a lot of you have had some personal experiences. You might have, for instance, had a parent or a family member that might have suffered with some medical situation. You know, that might have been earlier on, it may have been more recent. You may have always had an interest in science, but there was that one instrumental moment where you thought, you know something, this is where I want to be. I can see how valuable this is to the greater good of humanity, and I want to be part of that. So you might have had that sort of experience, or it might have just always been there. You might have just always been that caring person. You might have just always been fascinated by the career, and you know, in which case, if you're one of those people and there isn't this instrumental moment, what I have seen in a couple of personal statements is I know this might sound a bit weird, but putting in some sort of key quote or statement from an inspirational, historic figure or an author or something that really sums up who you are. That for me tends to grab my interest, and I have seen people make it through to interview with those sorts of statements, opening up the personal statement. But you've got to be really careful with that. You can't be too cliche or corny with it. So there is a bit of an art to it. So do be careful. Anything else about, does anybody want to chip in about strong openings to a personal statement?
I think you covered it, Sarah.
Okay. Then what I like to suggest is 3 paragraphs that demonstrate with evidence the following things. Now, if you find that, again, you're one of those lucky people, and I know there are a few of you, that you need more than 3 paragraphs, just make a 4th one if you have to, and then we can hack it back after with some, we can have a conversation about which of your experiences are the most relevant. We might need to cherry pick. So you need to demonstrate 3 things: your knowledge of the role you are going for and the institution in question. Okay, so you need to show, so this is where, unfortunately, it's not a one size fits, kind of one personal statement fits every application. You might well find yourself in a position, especially with the more prestigious universities, that you need to really kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I suppose, demonstrate that this is the university for you and you are the person for that university. So to achieve that and to separate yourself from the rest, you will need to say, for instance, you'll need to explicitly say the University of Manchester has this, and this is why I want to come here, and this is, the PA course specifically, the PA role generally, and why is it that you want to study at Manchester? Why is it that you want to study at UCLan? You'll need to adapt, and I think so that you can secure as many interviews as possible, I would adapt every single personal statement in that way. Evidence of your knowledge. So all of you, whether you feel confident enough to say it or not, have got a good solid foundation of knowledge given to you from the biomedical sciences or any of the other courses that you may be studying here at Salford. Lots of your modules, so more specifically your human anatomy, your physiology modules, pathophysiology, even your lab skills modules, all of the things that you've been doing actually prepare you for this next step of contributing to any establishment, but actually lots of your modules are really great foundation for studying a PA course. So if you can, in your personal statement, get across, if you're in your final year, you might have done loads of the PBL sessions with Niroshni. You can really weave in how passionate and how much you really enjoyed these sessions and what that gives you, and what, yes, it's great you did it, but this gives me a solid foundation for the PA course. Yeah, you need to kind of keep on linking it back to the PA course. So for example, my studies to date provide a strong background in the pathophysiology of human disease, making me an ideal candidate for this course. So for instance, if you were going to go and study PBLs at a given university, you could say, I've got extensive experience in studying pathophysiology by using the problem-based learning technique, which I know is a study, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, blah, 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 and I know this is the way your course is delivered. So straight away, because studying by PBL, it requires group work, it requires independent thought, nothing's being just spoon-fed to you. And they need to know that you're not a student that requires spoon-feeding. So again, being able to demonstrate that you've got experience of that independent learning from your existing course will really put you in a strong position for both physician associate and medicine applications. Evidence that you have relevant work experience, extracurricular activity and volunteering, especially important to demonstrate empathy, teamwork and sustained commitment over a prolonged period. So for example, you want to put in statements like, whilst volunteering at the soup kitchen once a month for the last 2 years, I developed a true understanding of human suffering. If you've got room, and you need to make room, you can slip in a sentence or two about a real profound experience where you had real impact, and hopefully that will then come up at interview as well. So for example, again, being able to communicate information to patients clearly is absolutely essential. My ability to communicate complex information is evidenced by the recent prize I won for delivering a scientific talk at the university public speaking competition. So again, as Naroshni said, we have all of these things for you, like Salford Passion Flash, the magazine, yeah. We're not, yes, it's a lot of fun, but actually the reason we invest so much time and money in these activities is because we know that you need them for your personal statement, we know that you need them for your CVs, so get involved. And in all cases, you need to bring back that experience. So you would give a statement like this, but you need to bring it back to how this knowledge applies to your intended career. As with a CV, as I've said earlier in the slides, it needs to be all factual, all correct, because you will be questioned about the content. And as I said, it will run through plagiarism software. If you are going to make an application, please don't submit the application without having one of us, either myself or Naroshni, look at your application and personal statement, and you need to give enough time. So giving it to us a week before is really not ideal. Ideally, we would have, I think 2 to 3 weeks prior, or even before. If you're in your first year now and you want to draft your personal statement and send it over to us before September, I'd be happy to take a look. August is usually a good month for that sort of thing. As you know, September is absolutely crazy, and then we get slower and slower on email. So you make the most of the summer. Okay, that's that. Does anybody want to chip in before I think I've got a few more slides on this particular presentation, and then I'll hand over to Patricia. No. So just a few notes on interviews. You might have a panel interview, especially if you go to some of the smaller universities, but generally the ones I've looked at tend to have these multiple mini interviews. And again, you need to prepare for either or scenario. Both will really assess the same sorts of things. It's just a different way of interviewing. So I would say, to some extent, I'd say the interviews require even, yeah, I totally agree with myself. I think the interviews need a lot more prep than your personal statement to some extent. Although your personal statement, I suppose, requires a big lead up of activity. So you should have been thinking about and working towards the personal statement in terms of, I don't know, your grades and your experiences. But I think in terms of investment of time, you really, please don't leave this till last minute, and don't leave it till you've secured an interview. I mean, it's great that you're all here now, but you need to make working groups and practice interviewing one another. I know it feels silly, but you need to get into role playing, asking each other questions, record what you say to one another and play it back and think, oh, I should have, I could improve my approach by doing this or something else. Questions are designed to enable interviewers to find out about the relevant experience, values and understanding which determine your suitability for the role, and that applies to medicine and PA studies. So I do have some, a handful of practice interview questions on another presentation. If we have time, we'll do them now, but if not, Ross and Komal have got an interview session this afternoon, and they are fantastic. So, you know, we'll see how we get on for time. So what will the interview questions cover? So why you've chosen the particular course that you've applied for, why this university. So the key advice I'd give you, irrespective of the course that you're going for, and I'm sure a lot of you already know this, is that you need to read widely about the course and where it sits within the NHS. And in the lead up to your interview, really brush up also on recent newspaper articles, websites and journals and any other publications that are relevant for your course. So for instance, you know, right now obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic. Do a quick check, is there anything in the literature about physician associates and you know, the pandemic? Is there anything about, you know, irrespective of the profession that you're going for, what are the current issues within the pandemic, and how are they impacting the UK, the global healthcare system, you know, the global healthcare landscape, sorry. You know, last time we had a session that we spoke about things like vaccine poverty. Is that still an issue? Is that an issue in the UK? You know, what about these new variants coming through? Do you know about these variants? Which communities are they impacting the most? So make sure you brush up. These are the issues now. They might not be the issues, you know, when it comes to your interview, but you know, just find out what's in the news at the moment. And also, you know, if irrespective of the course you're going for, they might ask you, okay, you're going to be a doctor or a physician associate, what's your speciality going to be? Okay, I want to be a heart surgeon. Okay, well, what are the issues? You know, what have you read about that, you know, recently? Okay, well, you don't want to say I've not read it, you know, nothing. If you know that you want to be a heart or a brain surgeon or, you know, whatever, read some up-to-date, do a literature search, find out what's in the news about it at the moment, read a few recent research articles, what is the current state of technology in a given discipline of medicine. So make sure you're up to date, okay? You can have a critical view of an idea and argument around topics of the NHS that you have encountered at work or in the media. Try to think about arguments from different angles though. So this idea of being able to approach a problem or you know, an ethical issue from different angles is really, really important. You need to show that you're open-minded and that you can think of things from different people's perspectives. And before an interview, make sure that you review your personal statement because that will come up. So if you make it to interview, what are they looking for? That you understand. Again, it goes back to, do you understand the course? Do you understand the career? You'll need to demonstrate that you have the skills needed for the course. So again, I've used the example of physician associate here, but the same will apply for medicine, but at a much higher level. Because the interview will be tougher as well for medicine, although the format is similar. You'll need the ability to use information from a wide range of sources. You'll have to have excellent communication skills and problem solving skills. So again, this is why we put on a lot of the things that we do here at the University of Salford, so that you know, we're giving you the opportunity to have practice runs with your communication skills. So, you know, make use of things that are both within and sit outside of the programs that we offer. Obviously, you know, again, anyone who secures an interview and goes through the interview practice, we will reiterate all of this. And if your interview's online, then you definitely need extra support to prepare you for these online interviews. You must still adhere to a smart professional dress code and behaviour. Every practice interview that we have given online, we have had to coach people about the way they are dressing, the way that, even right down to the way they've done their hair or makeup, and you know, make sure you've got on an ironed shirt, you know, a smart jacket, the background has to be nice, the room has to be quiet, you know, you can't have people wandering in and out, and you know, a messy environment. So all of these things you need to take into consideration. Right, some of these I think we'll come back to when it comes to interview session, because I am conscious of time. So I'm just going to pause there for a moment. Stop there a second. I have some more slides later for and the opportunity for us to talk about interviews. But if anyone wants to come in now, before we hand over to Patricia.
So just to reiterate the point, Sarah, that if you are don't go in without practice interviews, and if there's a practice interview happening for 1 or 2 people, please join in, because you know, it doesn't matter, you know, if you've just applied and you want this career path, please join in, because you will learn from every practice interview, and every practice interview is different. Also, before the practice interviews, look at all the GEMS PA interviews that we have. There's a whole resource there, right?
Yes.
If you go into the team site, there are recorded interviews, you know, so that alone it should be good enough for you to go through and take a look at. So that's absolutely important. The most important thing about interviews is the practice itself. The more interviews you do, because sometimes you sit and listen and you think, I can do this, I can do that. You have to put yourself up for the interviews, and if you do that and face the music, then that's when the practice really becomes effective. So don't be shy, just come in, and also please allow us to record these interviews, because even the mistakes you make are a learning point for somebody else, right? So come in, put your cameras on, do the interview, do the role playing, whether it's a GEMS interview or a PA interview, it doesn't matter. All of you come in, and I'm just conscious of the fact, Sarah, that at 1 o'clock we have the directors meeting.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah. Patricia, do you want to pop your camera on?
Yeah. I'll just.
Are you able to add your slides? Will it let you?
It didn't let me click the thing. Like, it wasn't allowing me to do it.
Will it let you? Sometimes it doesn't, depend on your browser. Will it let you share your screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to do it that way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if are you going to introduce yourself, Patricia? Just in case people don't know you.
Yeah. Can you guys see that, by the way?
Yes.
Can you see the screen? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So my name is Patricia. I'm a second-year biomedical science student. I'm applying to a physician associate September, and click send. And I'm just going to show you guys a little bit more about what I do. So my experience.
Patricia, do you want to take your camera off, because your speech is a bit it's getting interrupted. So you might have a bandwidth issue. So just it might be clearer without the camera. Yeah, go on.
Is that better?
Yes, it seems to be better. We'll let you know if it's problem.
No problem, thank you. So yeah, I'm a second-year biomedical science student. I'm applying to physician associate masters at the end of the year. And I'm just going to show you guys about my work experience and my job and what I do, like outside of uni as well. Okay. So if anyone has any questions, just feel free to interrupt me. So the topics I'm going to go through are volunteering, work experience and shadowing, jobs, and extracurriculars and networking. First one I'm going to go through is volunteering. So I volunteer at Rochdale Infirmary. It's a hospital, it's the urgent care where everybody goes to. I volunteer as an emergency responder and a vaccine hub volunteer. So the vaccine hub volunteer is new, obviously because of the COVID, new vaccines coming on. We were the first ones to get the first person in Manchester vaccinated. So that's only just happened. As a vaccine hookup volunteer, I've worked with HCAs, so healthcare assistants. I work with the ambulatory services, and then as an emergency responder, you've got the entrance just here at the the first person in the entrance, so I'm the first point of contact for patients. I've also volunteered. I've put this on the team site, and quite a few of you have actually applied. Quite a few of you have messaged me. I think we've got two other students from biomed there as well, and then you've got another 3 applying, so that's good, I suppose. And yeah, it's volunteering is one of the, what I did was I looked at medicine. So if you look at universities, and any university that you like, and you look at their if you look at PAs, they'll just be very vague, and they'll tell you that you not necessarily need healthcare experience, but you do, and if they won't specify on what you actually need. So what I did was I look at medicine, and I'd look at their entry requirements. So anything like how many hours of shadowing, or how many work experience jobs, or anything like that they'd want, and then I'd go off that. That's how I based my work experience, my jobs, and my volunteering and everything around that. That's how I did it. So this is my volunteering. I'll go through my work experience next. Yeah, so work experience and shadowing. So I couldn't actually get any work shadowing outside of this was during the pandemic, so I couldn't actually do it face to face. I called thousands of people, and it was really hard to do it just because, you know, COVID and social distance and whatnot, so I really couldn't do that. So what I did start doing is I created an account on Instagram, and I messaged loads of PAs and doctors and stuff like that, and one of them actually got back to me, and they enrolled me into an American program for pre-PAs, so pre-physician associates. And so I've done that. I've done the course. It's a 1 month long, so I've got 20 hours of shadowing with doctors in the US, Canada, and I did that throughout March and April. And then I have also 2 work experience sessions with qualified PAs and 1 student PA, and 1 work experience session with medical students and 1 qualified surgeon. And I do that all virtual because you couldn't do it face to face. But I think what they started to do was, I know some of the medical schools that they said, yeah, so virtual experience shadowing and everything like that will count. So I've got 20 hours of that, which was what was required for medicine, not physician associate, but medicine. But I just went anyway because you'd be applying to the same medical admissions anyway. So that was my work experience, if anyone's got any questions about that. What it was, as you can see on the little picture on the screen, I'm sorry that's a little bit graphic, but that is someone during surgery. They'd record it, or they'd take pictures, and they'd walk us through it and what they did and what they didn't do. And if we had any questions, we'd just ask. These are all American. I was the only UK student there. I think we had 1 in India as well. But that was just an opportunity that I created for myself. So you have to go out there, and you have to talk to people, and you have to put yourself in a place where it puts you a little bit of an advantage. So these opportunities aren't going to just lay themselves. They're not going to be handed to you on a silver platter. You need to go out and do them yourselves. You need to go out and put yourself out there. There's no point being shy, because it's not going to get you anywhere at the end of the day. Just out there. Honestly, the medical community is really nice. They're not really worried about the questions that you ask or anything like that. It's just go for it. You'll be absolutely fine. So that's the work experience and the shadowing that I have. My job, so I got this recently. I got Sarah to be my reference. So I am a clinical assistant. So I work in surgery as a theatre scrub and a circulating practitioner. What I do is, because it mainly this is Dr. John next to me. That's he's a plastic surgeon. So mainly it's me, Dr. John, and the circulating practitioner. So I alternate between scrub and circulating practitioner. The scrub assists the surgeon during surgery. So at the moment, I think I've done something like 20 gynecomastias. I only started there working there last month. Like 20 gynecomastias, about 40 blepharoplasties. These are all surgeries, upper and lower blepharoplasties. You do all sorts. It's really nice, and you do tummy tucks, BBLs, everything. Nice. He's also So they all asked me what I wanted to do, like after they asked me what I was doing there, like what I wanted to do in the future, etc. And I explained it all to them. And Dr. John's actually American, so he's head of the physician associate course, because it originated in the US. It's physician assistant, which has now changed to physician associate as I think about 2 weeks ago. Physician assistants are now physician associates as well. So their names have changed in the US. So Dr. John already knew what it was, and he very much he loved it. So he wanted all sorts. He's wanting to teach me how to suture, take bloods, obviously not on real people yet, on mannequins, and he wants to be my recommendation. I think we've got like 5 surgeons in there. 3 of them already said that if I needed a recommendation, just to put myself in there. And actually, based on my CV, I shouldn't have got the job. And it's because you actually need qualifications to do all of these things. And I don't have any of those. I'm very much good, had no experience in a job whatsoever. This was my first real job. And the reason why I got it was because I mentioned what I wanted to do in the future. I mentioned the fact that I'm applying to a physician associate master's, and the medical director loved it. So he was like, yeah, we'll train you, it'll be great. They've got an F1 student there as well, a junior doctor. And I'm like, yeah, you can work with him, it'll be great. We'll think about employing physician associates and all this lovely stuff. So he employed me on the basis of training me, not on the basis of the fact that I had qualifications, because based on my qualifications, I shouldn't have got the job. But I got it because he liked the fact that what I was doing. And my interview was based on physician associate, me being one associate rather than the job itself. That's what my interview was based on. And he's lovely. There's Dr. John, Dr. Ahmed, Dr. Rohit. They're all lovely people. Very much pro physician associates. You've also got to explain the role quite a bit, which you'll get used to. And I think it's good practice as well for your interviews. But yeah, that's what I do. I assist during the surgery. I also have my own patients. I do pre-op and post-op. So I take the blood pressure, take temperature, do the medical photos, make the medical file. Pre-op, and then post-op I do the aftercare. So I send them home. I discharge patients. I go through what they can and can't do, what they can and can't eat, exercise. Medications as well. I'm not allowed to dispense medication, so I get the medications that they need, and then I get it signed off by the doctor, by the surgeon. So that's what I do in my job. If anyone has any questions or anything like that, then feel free to ask. No?
Patricia, can I ask a quick question, if you don't mind? Now, this job that you have is obviously, really something quite special. I just wondered, where did you see this job advertised?
On Indeed. Yeah. So I applied not thinking that I was going to get the job. I applied thinking, yeah, it'll be a long shot. I'll apply. It'll be fine. Yeah. So I applied, and then within 2 days they got back to me. Actually, they didn't reply within 2 days, and obviously I'd never applied for a job before, so I didn't know whether I was supposed to be waiting a long time. I didn't know how long I was supposed to be waiting, so I rang them like every 4 hours. Just did you get my application? Is anything wrong? Yeah. I had never applied. I didn't know, so I just kept pestering them, and then I think after 2 days they rang me and they were like, oh, is this Patricia? And I'm like, yeah. And they were like, well, are you okay to just come into the clinic for us? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Had no idea what this was about, and it was she had an interview with me there and then on the phone, and she asked me to come in, and then what I thought was the interview was actually, what's a physician associate? How do they work? Would you be able to do consultations? Like, what do you do, in regulation and whatnot? So I had to explain all of that, and then had to explain GMC regulation, and it was very much what's a physician associate and how do they work, but other than the job that I'm applying to. Yeah. So they loved it. That's why they actually employed me, and it was nothing to do with my CV, because my CV was not great, because obviously your CV's got to have some experience on there, and I had none. So that's how I got the job. It was just advertised on Indeed, and I just applied, just sent my CV in and just applied. My CV is not great. It's not. So I do advise going into workshops and getting your CV up to scratch. But I didn't get it based on anything to do with my skills. It was more about my passion for being a physician associate.
I just think it's incredible that they've trained you now to take blood pressure and to prepare.
Yeah.
A lot of the theatre scrubbing and all of this. I just think it's just fascinating, really, and it must be really exciting for you.
Yeah, it's really cool because I think my first day, which was the same day of my interview, I went in and they all said, okay, well, this is Patricia, and two of us got the job, and the other lady that works with me, she's about 45. She's been working in the industry for about 15 years. She's got tons of experience. She's a scrub nurse, and I had nothing. So when they asked me, I was just like, yeah, I'm a student. And they were like, oh, okay, well, nice to meet you. And they were all lovely. But it was like I got the job alongside this lady that's been in the industry for about 20, 15 years. And I was like, they were like, well, it's nice that you're here. And I was like, oh, thank you. But yeah, they taught me everything, scrub, suctioning, irrigating. I have to know all the instruments, which I know now, all the instruments all the surgical instruments, I have to know them off by heart. Everything's sterile. Everything has to be done by the book. You touch anything, you scrub all over again. It's just, I wasn't very, like, I'd seen these things on, like, medical shows like Grey's Anatomy and all of these things, but then it was really cool to be actually seeing it. And the first day I went in, it was like, Dr. John, which is the surgeon on the screen, he had a tummy tuck. So a lady came in for a tummy tuck, and I walked in, and he just flipped this lady's stomach wide open, the low part of her belly just wide open. And he was like, "Oh, hi, Patricia." Like, it was and I was like, "Well, yeah, great." She's got her belly buttons like just flipped open. There's like blood, fat inside, and then he'll come in, and because he knows that I am very into surgery, he now teaches me all sorts. So he's like, well, do you know what this is, and do you know what that is, and do you know why I've done this, and you know all the sutures, and these are dissolvable and these aren't dissolvable, and this patient needs this medication, that medication. So I'll get the medication now, and he'll just sign it. And they've got to teach you these things, because obviously I'm not qualified, but they have to teach me these things and train me into being able to do all of these things. So it's a really good job. It's a really nice job. I do like it.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I think, just obviously, as you say, you're getting to see what parts of the body really look like. That's going to put you, head and shoulders ahead of the game. So Rabina's asked, so where is this hospital? Which one is it?
So it's a clinic. It's called Signature Clinic. It's really convenient because it's about 5 minutes away from my house, which is great. Like, if I have work at like 8 o'clock in the morning, I'll can leave at 7:55 and I'll be there. I don't do that, guys. But it's called Signature Clinic. It's a cosmetic surgery. So we have one in Rochdale, which is where I live. We've got one in Glasgow. We've got one opening in Birmingham. So I'll be going to Birmingham in the middle of July, because it's a new clinic, so they need people there. So I'm training over there for 2 days, I think. And then there's one in Cardiff. I think they're opening one up in Dubai or something like that. But there's 4 at the moment. It's called Signature Clinic.
Yeah, because I think I've not seen many students who have explored the private kind of cosmetic surgery clinics before as an option for gaining work experience. But at the end of the day, whilst I realise it's cosmetic surgery, you're still learning such a great deal about patient care and the pros, the actual, actually being able to, put it bluntly, being able to stomach seeing the blood and the gore and everything. Thing, because it's one thing you saying, okay, I want to go and do medicine because I want to be a surgeon. I want to go and study physician associate studies and become a surgical PA. When in reality you don't know whether you're going to faint at the first sight.
And that's what I thought as well. Because I love Grey's Anatomy, and I love The Good Doctor, and I watch all of these things, and it's great, seeing the fake blood and the fake organs. And then when you see someone's eye like actually hanging half open, then it's like, okay, well,
the thing. And do you get the opportunity to when the patients come round after, do you get a chance to talk to them after by the bedside and take them a cup of tea or anything?
Yep. So I do pre-op. So pre-op is taking them in and whatnot, and then this is a set. So the scrub is inside. So if I'm scrubbing for that day, I'm just inside. I'm doing I'm assisting the surgeon. If I'm cycling practitioner, which I have been for the past 2 weeks now, then you do pre-op and post-op. So after the surgery, you'll take them in. Before the surgery, you'll take them in. So that's pre-op. You do the pre-op, you take the patient in, they do the surgery, and then they come back out, and then you do post-op with them. So you take the blood pressure again. You go through the management, get them water if they need it. Some people, some sugar levels also go down quite a lot. So we have like biscuits and cakes and cans and whatnot. So you bring them back. You take the blood pressure again. You don't let them leave unless they're actually okay. That's usually what happens. And you give them everything that they need. So we can give, if you're doing in for a blepharoplasty, then you give them chloramphenicol or gauze. Facelifts, you give the garments that they've got. You've got gynecomasties that come in. So you're with them until basically they leave. And then you have to book a follow-up appointment if it's not dissolvable sutures. If the suture's not dissolvable, then they have to come in for a stitch removal, and then they'll usually do that within 1 or 2 weeks. So you'll see them again, basically, when they come back. And then it's really nice because some of them just remember. They're like, "Oh, hi, Patricia," and I'm like, "Hi, I remember you." But yeah. Really nice.
There's memorable moments, and I think, you know, at the end of the day, yes, again, there can be this misconception, I think, surrounding cosmetic surgery, but, you know, you've got to remember, you know, if a patient's going for a tummy tuck or a facelift, there will be a huge psychological burden there for that patient. So, you know, whilst it's not emergency care, or, you know, you're not, I don't know.
I think it's like a bit of a nicer way to ease you into surgery as well, because trauma where there's someone actually coming in with like guts hanging out and stuff like that. It's a bit nicer because things are a little bit more controlled, as opposed to being a bit more chaotic.
Yeah, absolutely.
But patients are always a little bit scared when they go in, so
exactly. It's that bedside manner, and then the aftercare. I think you're gaining a huge number of things. So it's a really interesting approach that you've taken, Patricia, and I think it's a very clever angle, and that people may not often think of going down the private cosmetic route to get some experience, but hopefully some other students can start exploring that now too.
Yeah, I'd say that, to be fair, because I always thought, NHS hospitals will do it that way, but I just saw it and I applied, and, you know, hope for the best. And one thing that I was also going to say is I didn't just apply for it because obviously when you're in uni, you've got you've got your maintenance loan, whether you do or fortunate not enough to not apply for it, depends on the person and individual circumstances. But I receive my maintenance loan, and then you've got obviously student finance place for your tuition fee. But that's in your undergraduate. In your masters, depending, I think it's for the majority of people actually, you only get up to £11,000. 11,222, something like that. And then you've got Health Education England that gives you £5,000, so you have to fund about 2 to 3k yourself, and then which is fine. But then you've got your maintenance loan, and usually I'm depending on my maintenance loan now as an undergraduate degree, but in your masters you're not going to have the maintenance loan, and you're not going to you can't rely on that. So what I also saw from this was I'd have a way, because I save up the money. I'm not really a spender. Don't spend on anything, but save up the money from this, and I can spend it as like fund my own maintenance loan, if that makes sense. Because you're not going to get a maintenance loan in your masters. I don't know if everybody does know that or not. I'm not trying to scare anyone, by the way. It's just that you're going to need to know these things about finance and whatnot before you start, just in case you get to the point of where you're like, oh, actually, student finance isn't giving me maintenance loan, why not? Well, it's because it's a master's and you only get half, basically. So I don't know if everybody does know that, but if you didn't, well, there you go. But yeah, that's one of the other reasons as well why I applied for the job, and I got it. Woo.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah. So other thing I'm going to say is extracurriculars and networking. I will try to keep this a little bit quicker just because we are finishing soon. But if anyone's got any questions, then please let me know. It's just because I can't see the screen. But yeah, extracurriculars and networking. So I have webinars. both PA and medical students and doctor webinars. It's really nice. It's really nice to see. I have a pre-PA account, so I separate my personal life from medicine, and that's just an account that I tips and advice and talk to other PAs and other medical students and doctors and surgeons and these lovely medicine things. And I do that just because one, for not going to want to have something that you said on your personal account affect and two, because it's not everything based on medicine. One place really. So like message got any PMs that's American. So these are two to an American. This is Neely. Neely is lovely. I think quite a few of you know Neely. She's got like 20,000 or 25,000 followers for just like PA based. She's lovely, and there's hundreds of them. So you'll find loads of PAs on Instagram. I've talked to quite a few of them. They're all lovely. These are some of the accounts that you can join, some of the groups that you can join. So PA2B, PA Academy, Future Frontline, Matrix Education, and Clubhouse. Future Frontline is actually run by medical students. They're also really nice. They did a one work experience that I think I posted as well. Some of you went to that. Matrix Education is PA based, and then PA2B and PA Academy are also PA based. PA Academy is one of the co-founders is Thomas Smith, and he went to Salford. He's a qualified physician associate now. I did an interview with him, and I'll go through that in a second. And Clubhouse is actually you have to get an invitation from Clubhouse sent by phone by your phone number. So I got Neely to send me an invitation for Clubhouse, otherwise you can't get it. And on Clubhouse, it's just really qualified physician associates that just like have talks about anything related to medicine and stuff like that. So it's really nice. The latest one was where there was an increase by the FPA on the national exams. So that's nearly £1,000, nearly, guys. So I thought I'd share that as well. It's gone from 500 to I think £800 for you to do your nationals and OSCEs, in case anybody was not aware. And also what I would say is have things that are interesting about yourself other than, and I know this is PA related, but have things that are interesting about yourself other than everything to do with medicine. By all means, attend webinars and just build yourself up a little bit, but also have other things that are interesting. I like to, other than webinars to do with medicine, I like to attend like lifestyle webinars. The latest one I went to was a webinar with Sir David Attenborough. That was a lovely webinar. He's a lovely person. That's him on the side here. He just answered our questions. Very nice man. And he's also got the amazing voice. Very iconic. Anyway. And then you've got the Bioscientist magazine. So quite a few of you guys are also on the Bioscientist team. This was the one that I made. It's the emerging role of physician associate, an interview with a PA. So you can have a read of that. It's on the team's site if anyone does want to read it. This is the magazine version, and that's the website version. It's just the background on physician associates. You can take quite a lot of information from that as well and put it into your interviews and make it your own. And then at the bottom, it's an interview with Thomas Smith from the PA Academy. I did that virtually, and I did that with Afnan and Nabiha. They were the editors for it as well. And yes, it's good experience to have. That you can put things on your personal statements, things that you've done, like achievements and things like that. So it's very useful. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, then feel free to ask.
Thank you, Patricia.
No problem.
That was really brilliant. And I think what I really like about your approach is that you've kind of just made sure that you're hitting every possible angle. You've not really left any stone unturned, and the passion just really comes through. So well done. I think the thing that I would add also about getting involved with the magazine, I know that there is an opportunity to get involved over the over the summer as well for issue 3, is that you can, okay, you might not get to write another PA article because that's already been done, but if you can write a scientific article or a clinical article, you can reference that in your application. You can even add links to it. You can hyperlink a bit of text so that the reader can see, oh, wait a minute, this person's actually got an article on what looks like quite a professional student body website, and they can read what you've written. Don't worry if you've not written anything like this before. There is opportunity for feedback, both from other students and from the academics, such as myself, who kind of give feedback on those articles. So, get involved and get the most out of the time that you have left here at the university.
I'm just reading some of the ones on the slide. Yeah, so the private one is a clinic. It's called Signature Clinic. And the hospital, you can apply to NCA, Northern Care Alliance hospitals, and they're taking in volunteers. I think I've posted it on there before, so if you just scroll a little bit up, you'll be able to see it. I think they have it in Fairfield, in Bury, one in Rochdale, one in Oldham, and one in Manchester. Manchester General Hospital or Royal Hospital, one of the two. I think Salford Royal Hospital and Manchester General Hospital. So they do take in volunteers for that. So that's the hospital for the volunteering.
Any other questions? I think we're running out of time for my next set. Well, we don't have enough time, unfortunately, for the next set of slides that I have on interview technique. But I've got no doubt that they will be covered in the session starting at 2:30. Are we all joining the 2:30 session? Have you all got a ticket?
Yeah.
Please do. Sarah, can you share that link again? I think both in the GEM sites and the Biomed Soc site, because I think some students might have got left out. Yeah, I mean, just a few words on Patricia's approach. I mean, that's exactly the approach that you have to go with all guns blazing, guys. Every opportunity must be followed up, so that at the end you have a lot to choose from. And that is very, very, very evident when you read your personal statement or at interview, that this person has just done everything. And that's the type of person you would want to employ as an employer. Not somebody who is just narrow and who is waiting to be pushed, but somebody who will take the drive and do things. So the moment you look at that CV, she has done everything. So you would want her on your team. So it's that what you have. Just be proactive, and this is an incredibly different landscape, because there are so many, everywhere you look, they're looking for volunteers, they're looking for healthcare workers. So the opportunity